Alright, 13 here, and it is time to upgrade my beige box. It is running a older Gigabyte motherboard. You can see it there. Here. Flip you around so it's the right way. But it's running an Intel Celeron processor, and it's starting to not work so well, so I got a upgrade. A Gigabyte motherboard, a Z97X SLI, a i5 4690, and some G.SKILL Ripjaws memory. It's an 8 gig stick. I got this from Newegg, and so first thing I'm going to do is disconnect all the wires, and I'll come back in. As you can see, I have all the wires disconnected and just kind of hanging over. Get them out of the way. Speaker wire there. So the next thing you need to do is remove the graphics card. There's a release right here. You push down on the release and pull it up. Yes, I should be wearing a wrist strap, but I usually keep my left hand there, which is what I'm using to hold the camera. So I'm actually grounded to the case. And this doesn't have a release, so you can just kind of grab it and rock it back and forth. And after that, you release the memory by pushing down on these. And I'll actually be reusing this memory in a different computer. So that leaves the motherboard completely exposed, and then you'll be removing things like these screws here, this one here, this one here, this one here, nice little hidden one here, and all the other screws. Oh, there's another one there, so that the motherboard comes out. Okay, so now to unbox the motherboard. So first thing we do, take all this stuff, set it to the side. Take the badge, set it to the side. Grab the motherboard out of the case. Get the wires tangled up. And take it out of its protective casing. And set it down. Right, like that. So what I like to do is dry fit this and make sure my pins line up. So it looks like I can move this pin over one, which should help the motherboard be a little bit more stable. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So this pin can be moved over to this hole. Okay, so as you can see, I've moved this from here to there, so I got 3 offset points for the motherboard. Here is the shield for the motherboard. And I like to pop this in before I pop in the motherboard. And so that just friction holds in there until you get the motherboard in. I really need another hand to do that. So that just holds in there like that. And you take the motherboard, gently, lower it down. What I like to do is take this and install the heat shield upside down. So let me fix that. So now that this is the right way, lower in the motherboard, and I like to line it up and then put in my screws to make sure that that gets through all the way. And so you have to push on it just a little bit to get these screw holes to line up. Show you there. So, and then I'll get those screwed in and come back. So my next step is mounting the CPU. So I'm going to remove the cover. I'm also going to look at the pins a little quick and see if there are any bent ones. I've heard of people having problems with bent pins. There's a lot of new motherboards. So I don't see any. So I'm going to take this processor box, slide my finger across there so I can get at the processor and the fan that comes with it. So, a little documentation. I'll come back when I get to it. Alright, so here's the processor. And you can see it's got little keys in it, little notches. Camera will focus. So right there. And those line up. There's little tabs right there. So this only goes in one way. So you got to be careful not to force it. And it'll just kind of sit there just loose like that. So you lift up the lever, pull it down, and lock it into place. Now, this came with thermal paste pre-applied, but I have some Arctic Silver 5 that I'm going to use instead. And so to remove this, I take a little piece of hard cardboard and, oh, come on, focus. That's pretty close. And just gently push across it. And so it comes up like that. And so the next thing I'm going to do is take some alcohol and clean it. I have these little alcohol pads. My wife is a nurse. So I actually get quite a few of these. She ends up forgetting that are in her pockets. And they're great for stuff like this. So that's good and clean now. It's got a nice mirror surface. You just want it to air dry. And so the next part is dry fitting this to find out. I gotta fish out this cable. Okay, so I just dry fit this. There's no thermal paste on that yet, but I wanted to set this on here and make sure that this fan reaches where it says CPU fan. As you can see right there, make sure this cable is going to reach this without having to stretch. Have enough, a little bit of wiggle room. Could probably even go another turn and hit it, but I don't like it going over the fan like that, because then the fan can hit the wire and makes noise. So, to the drops of rice. So, put a little drop there, a little dab there, a little dab there, a little dab there. So you really need to cover this core area here, but as much as you can reach out will be good. And unfortunately, the only way to check to make sure you got enough is to take it off and put it back on. So about like that's how I do it. So you want to make sure that these are pointing towards the CPU. Press them down. And then you turn them backwards while applying force. On the CPU. And then the last thing I like to do is give them a little pull. Make sure they don't come up. Make sure that's on there solid. Then I take and I plug in the fan. Making sure there's enough wire there. Actually, I could have done it 90 degrees that way, but unfortunately I wasn't paying enough attention. So, and then from here I'm going to install the motherboard wires, the extra 8-pin wires there, then the memory, the CPU, and then these wires. And these wires are extra fun because they're all labeled and they match into here, which is also very tiny print. So I had installed the processor, hooked up the 6-pin wires, the 24-pin wires, installed the memory. You can see which slot it needs to go into here. You want to go for the lowest number. I don't like that this doesn't start with 0, but that's an annoyance of mine. I've hooked up these wires. I have this wire here, which gets plugged into here to feed extra power to the graphics card. I started to bolt this down, and then I wait to fully bolt it down until I get both of those in. So I'm just going to go about finger tight right now. And then push it forward. Go about what I call tool tight. And I've also hooked up the hard drive, the CD-ROM. I have a removable sled for the hard drive, so that's why it looks like that. And so I think that's everything in there, so time to close that in. One last most important steps is updating the stickers. And then I'll start recording again when it posts. Now the moment of truth. Did I hook up everything right?
It takes a minute.
And it looks like I did. So I'll that's my daughter. This is going to be her computer. So this is specs are going to be below, and I'll see y'all on the flip side.